Thank you. We're back from closed session and we have nothing to report at this time. And then I'm gonna move the proclamation to the beginning of our meeting because I don't want you guys to wait very long. We did make a couple changes, corrections on our proclamation, but I'm gonna read it. And business and so whereas the Lindsay Youth Cheer program has a long embodied the spirit, the pride, and the excellence of our community by fostering dedication, teamwork, and strong character in all of its athletes. And whereas on November 15th, 2025, at the All Valley Cheer Competition, the Lindsay Youth Cheer team delivered an extraordinary performance, demonstrating an exceptional talent, discipline, and sportsmanship while proudly representing the city of Lindsay. And whereas Lindsay's young athletes distinguished themselves not only through their competitive success, but also through their conduct, as numerous individuals from other communities praised the girls for their kindness, respect, and outstanding manners, qualities that reflect the program's commitment to developing both strong athletes and exceptional young people. And whereas out of the 8 Lindsay routines, the teams brought home 7 first place titles, a testament of their hard work, perseverance, and the support of their coaches, families, and communities. And whereas out of the 4 grand champion titles awarded at the competition, Lindsay earned 3, furthering solidifying the LYC program as one of the top youth cheer programs in the region. And whereas the achievements of each team are hereby recognized as follow, and I hope I got this right, guys. The Bantams, the AU, the show cheer, they got first place, grand champions, the highest overall score across all categories in their age divisions. The Pee-wees 10U show cheer first place. They got first place in show cheer, performance cheer first place, and grand champions and the highest overall score across categories in their age division. The juniors 12U show cheer first place, performance cheer first place, and seniors 14U. Is that the age? Show cheer first place, performance cheer first place, and the grand champions highest overall score across all categories in their age division. Now and therefore, I, Misty Villarreal, the mayor of the city of Lindsay, hereby recognize and commend the Lindsay Youth Cheer Program for their remarkable accomplishments and representing our city with pride, excellence, and integrity. Let it be known that the city of Lindsay celebrates and honors these athletes, their coaches, and their families for their contribution to the community and exemplifying what it means to be a Lindsay Cardinal. It's a witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Lindsay to be affixed this 9th day of December, 2025. Congratulations. You guys can go up there and take a picture with us. We have a light. You guys can, we can do like, let's do the Bantams AU. The age, 8 and under. AU. I was an athlete, sorry. I know cheering, like, I don't. I agree. But I don't know anything about this. You guys can come up here. Careful, watch this now. You guys gotta do a cheer though. You guys ready to dance? Yes. Yeah, that's so cool. If you can, do we see? Can you see it? Yeah. Awesome. At this time, we'll do the Pee-wees 10 and under. The 10U. Okay, I'm gonna this. They keep with your bows. I hear it. Come in. You don't bite today, okay? Can you see us up? That Kyler.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Really fast, and they have everyone look at chorus. Right here. Perfect.
Thank you. You guys can tell you guys are professional coming with your guys' bows and stuff like that. That's so awesome. I know. Now we're gonna do juniors.
Well,
12U. Hey, I got it down now. Now I know. What Okay.
Here.
You guys are getting taller.
I know.
There you go. Oh, see, they know.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you, lady. Thank you. Senior. I'd be like, it's time. I'm so shot it up. See, I did. Oh, this is basketball.
that's basketball too. That's how you know you play basketball.
Hold on, let's get tall, guys. Get tall. One of the coaches wanna come up there. Yes, take it to, I don't even, give it to Lefty, or you, what you guys, awesome, thank you guys so much.
Can I say something?
Yeah, you know what, some of the council members would like to say something, but yeah, we're super proud of you guys for representing Lindsay in all areas, and, yes, thank you guys so much.
Once again, congratulations on behalf of the entire city of Lindsay. I've been a witness to the hard work that all of you have put in from the very beginning. I was there at the tryouts. I wasn't able to attend the day of your great victories, but I was there in spirit. And I really appreciate the hard work and dedication that you put in. I saw it. I was a coach, so I saw it. And special shout out to the Bantam coach and to the Bantam cheerleaders. I appreciate you putting on a show during the games when I was coaching. You distracted my players, but I really enjoyed the fact that you were there to steal the show. So thank you so much for the entire program, and I look forward to more victories in the future at the All Valley tournaments and beyond. Thank you.
Yes, and thank you, parents and coaches. I just want to say congratulations to all of you, and when I went to a game, I was like, they need a shade. Somebody needs to come and bring some big canopies, because they're all hot when it's done, but they are troopers, they just stood there and they smiled, and all of them, they're amazing, and we are so proud of you, so good job, guys. Thank you guys, you guys are more than welcome to stay, or you guys. Thank you, parents. Yes.
Thank you, board members.
Where's the board members at?
Easy.
Oh, is he?
Or we can do the vice president.
You guys can just tell me. We'll work out
Yes. Beautiful Christmas tree. Yes.
I know. I've been one time. I can do the last.
My home man, Dave, I told him it's in, at Magic Valley, and he was the end one, that's what I like. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The 16 out of 49 looks like.
Now we know.
49.
I'm like the farm.
Hey, the little piece.
Yeah. If it goes back into the community, I'm still. Remember.
And all the people here are good as well.
Now we can roll.
Yeah, I was like.
Yeah, there we go.
Great job,
There you go.
great job. Board members, coaches, great job.
Hey,
That's the Wellness Center?
I wanted to make sure, maybe next month or February, I wanted to like recognize your football team. Okay. Your football, your people.
Well, like for the
Yeah.
one.
We're gonna, I'll get, somehow put on the agenda so we get that worked.
Okay.
Thank you for the, kind words and, especially you next on the job.
Thank you, thank you.
We've had before? Yeah, so that's the guy. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Am I on video?
No, you're not. You're not. on.
Yeah. I need to approve the agenda, Joe.
Not the only one.
All of a sudden she wants to come.
All of a sudden. Hey.
And we have.
Yeah. I was gonna say, okay, no, it's okay. We don't need to go.
Thank you.
This month we're gonna do it.
Thank you.
I just had that, you know, I can never remember how.
That's what it took, just for everything.
This thing I should keep track, and you know, at the beginning, it'll be down for me, and I was like, just, now I'm unprepared. Yeah, you good? I have it on my note. Okay. Okay, thank you. That was a lot going on. Yeah. We're gonna move on to action, no, the approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Motion to the agenda.
Second, I have a motion from Gloria, a second from Nate. All in favor? Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
And we're gonna make them wait through,
The council?
go through at least the
No.
first part, you know?
Yeah, that was way
So they can see the bureaucracy.
Right, next time. I'm moving on to council report.
No, we have.
Start on my left. Move. Yeah.
Well, there's only a few left, but still welcome, good to see you. I just wanted to report that, I have been to the tree lighting. Staff, the community, everybody that I saw there, it was amazing. I have never seen so many people from Lindsay gather in an event like that. Especially something, it started off small, I thought.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it feels like this is already the second year or third doing the tree lighting, right? I don't think they did the tree lighting. Yeah,
18.
and every year, it gets so much bigger, so I don't know how it's gonna get next year, because I hear there's a lot of good things coming. But that's basically all I wanted to say, and be safe. Soon there's gonna be fog, so just be safe, drive safe. If you don't have to leave your home, don't leave your home. And just Merry Christmas and have a Happy New Year, because I don't think we're gonna see them, right?
No, no. All right, thank you.
Yeah, I'll keep mine short as well. I was also able to attend the tree lighting and the parade. It was a great time. I really appreciate all the community organizations, the place of worship, the Sikh community, all the different businesses. I really appreciate everybody coming out, donating their time. The potatoes were a big hit, but I like the hot chocolate chutney, that's some more. The parade was fantastic. As the council member said, it's been getting bigger and bigger, so it's great to see the holiday spirit just growing in Lindsay. And I want to give a special shout out to all the staff that participated, not just on Friday, but also the entire year. It's been a great year to see everybody kind of come together and pull in the same direction as a city. So I really appreciate that, and you can reiterate that with all your staff, that I really appreciate them. I really see them putting in the hard work and dedication to the city. I know at the beginning of the year, we weren't sure how we we're gonna sort out the entire situation that we were in, but moving forward, I think we're moving in the right direction. I'm glad we're staffed up and that the right people were put in the right positions to guide us towards a better future in the city of Lindsay. I was also able to attend the Disney Youth Football Cheer Banquet on Sunday, so that was fun. It was a good event to finish our season, and I look forward to the rest of the year. Happy holidays to everybody. Hope that everybody enjoys but a warm, evening, New Year's, and I'll see you in January.
Thank you. Real quick, I was also there. I think it's a big deal to have all the five of us and, you know, the manager and all of us together. I think it's important for people to see us, that we, you know, we can talk, and it's just not about in here. I was gonna call Kyle. I almost missed that one. I saw her laughing. So I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think people see that and they acknowledge that, you know, our council's working together to make our city a better place, you know, and, so that was a lot of fun. I did also attend the baked potato sale for the girls' basketball, Lindsay Coalition meeting. That was fun. They played games and I won. Somebody won me some highlighters. Somebody. I did go to the Melissa Hurtado open house, with Armando and Chief Nave. We got to talk to Melissa Hurtado. She's like, what do you guys need? And we're like, money. We talked to her about, you know, we talked to her about water, you know, our priorities, water, public safety, you know, homes. So it was a good conversation, even though they did talk about a huge deficit in the state of California. You know, she's still gonna try to help us. I attended the Nutcracker play 5 times. 4 of those times I was backstage, but I did get to watch it on Sunday, and what a great event. And we had a lot of families from Lindsay come out, and it's just so much fun. So hopefully next year you guys want to help at the Nutcracker play. We'll take any help that we can get. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, and everybody have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Be safe. Thank you.
How about that Grinch? I don't know who it was at the beginning of the parade, but that was so funny.
Not you this year? No?
Who was it? It was really nice.
Really?
But I'm glad that everybody's enthusiastic about, all the events that Armando and his crew have planned. Looking forward to this Friday again. This is the toy giveaway, correct? And the open house with all the businesses. I hope you're able to walk around and explore the businesses that we have here in Lindsay. Other than that, I'm just glad to be here.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I also attended the Lindsay Parade and Christmas lighting, and since I sit on a couple boards, I always compare Christmas tree lightings from other cities. And I'm not gonna tell you, we're way better than them. I'm not gonna tell you the cities, you know, but yeah. But Lindsay's got it going on. I just like was super proud when I was like showing mine off on my phone, and my picture was like, oh, you're so nice, you know. Yes. So, I also attended the Lindsay potato bake sale. That was really good. I love supporting the basketball team. I did the TCAG and TCRTA yesterday. Made an announcement that it was really cool to get an acknowledgement that Lindsay finally paid off their Measure R repayment debt. So yeah, that's super good. So it was good. I got a clap, you know, from everybody. So I attended the City Lindsay event. The meeting with Armando.
Special events.
The special events was that went well. I think all the businesses showed up, and yeah, I think that's what and I did I met with one of our lobbyists yesterday, so just trying to get more money from Lindsay. Yes. So that's the goal. So that's all I have to report. Thank you. Moving on to public comment. Members of the public may address the city council on matters within the jurisdiction of the city of Lindsay. Persons wishing to address the council concerning an item on the agenda will be invited to address the council during that time council is considering that agenda item. Persons wishing to address the council concerning issues not on the agenda will be invited to address the council during the public comment portion of the meeting. When invited by the mayor to speak, please step up to the lectern, state your name, city residence, and make your comment. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. At this time, do we have any public comment?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Martino Perez, I'm a resident of Lindsay, 531 North Yale Hill. I got a few concerns, so I'm hoping I'm ace this in 3 minutes. Okay, so I requested, body cam footage from the Lindsay Police Department for an incident, involving Officer Sanchez, which gave me specifically, first of all, I made a call for public service because I had a dog that kept jumping in our yard, a rescue dog, right? So I need somebody to come get it because it was growling at my father-in-law. Officer comes out, and advised me to go dump it in Northville. So I don't know if you guys are animal lovers. We have dogs. That's not my dog. I'm not gonna go dump it in Northville. It's not gonna happen. So some 10 days ago, I went and filled out paperwork and, to request body cam footage because I believe it's unethical, it's unprofessional, and it's probably a violation of, policy or some type of ethics with the police department. I'm not sure if they encourage that or if they're promoting that, but I'm a dog lover. My family's, they all have pets, so that's one issue, right? Another issue is with, and I'm not being targeted, just so you guys know, so these are separate incidents, so the November 5th incident is just unprofessional advice. I mean, literally told me to go dump the dog you want to go, so I don't know why. Sanchez, I've never seen her around, she's probably pretty new on the force. Martinez, November 25th, 687, right? So I was on an e-scooter, right? And I committed an infraction, right? I will admit that. I mean, I did an infraction. However, when he does the stop, he veers his vehicle in my direction. Had I not stopped, I would have hit the door. So the sergeant that night came out to my residence and he downloaded a video image from the house security, right, to show how it all interacted, right? Another concern is, and he was gonna show it to his superior, right? Because it was just, sergeant said it was just a heated situation. I don't know where he got that from because the stop was initiated by the officer, but to make a stop, it's like you would want to do it in a professional manner and do it to where you won't put the rider or cyclist in danger. So, but like I said, I'm not contesting or he had a right to stop me, but just in that manner, it's just unacceptable. So, my next concern is, why aren't the vehicles with, equipped with, dash cams? Is it a lack of funding or how can we help as a community? Could we start something to like, what you guys, I know you guys are gonna comment, but I'm willing to start or take it to the social media, take it to, put it out there that if it's lack of funding, I believe we need to equip these vehicles with dash cams, for the purpose of, protecting the citizens and the police officers.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any more public comment? No, at this time, public comment is closed. Moving on to the city manager report, take it away,
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I've got a long list, but I'm gonna breeze through, quite a bit of them, and spare you some details. But, last month, after our, past council meeting, there was a Bryant board retreat. So,
I want to
discuss-
touch it too.
we'll get you one.
Wait, hold on, wait, there's five of them. Come on.
Fine. Understood. So, we had, a lot of discussion about, potential issues, lawsuits, litigation, ongoing litigation that's been going on for multiple decades over water rights and, getting additional water. So there was, lots of lengthy discussions. We've had, since the last council meeting on site, folks they're doing some energy audits, doing some assessments, that, they were on site, 2 days last week, doing a more thorough analysis. We're anticipating that we'll have a report, probably late next month, based on, their findings. We've also had, in a similar capacity, some IT specialists that have come around, continue to analyze the system, looking at, software, systems, looking at, cybersecurity, and then also, hardware as well. So, the need for new additional hardware. And again, that's probably on that same time frame where we'll be getting, some report from them, next month as well, as far as their findings. Auditors, have been out and they've, been working with staff. I know they're working all this week as well on our audit in particular, our 2024 audit. Things have been going, I know I got them some, a requested document that they had asked for today. So they're, getting different things, as related to that. So that's, been very positive. Yesterday, also our lobbyist, as the mayor mentioned, Jack Walco, he, came into town, met with all department heads. Got their feedback, just understanding as far as some of the needs from a funding standpoint, if there's any, regulatory policy needs as well. He'll be going back, to Sacramento, working on a document and coming back he'll be giving a formal presentation, getting all of your input at a council meeting, probably in the early part of the year. I'm thinking probably February, the council meeting, and getting your additional input for a policy document, they'll put together. He's also, encouraged that if and when any council member is in Sacramento, that he'd be happy to set up meetings, with people in the governor's office and, you know, the appropriate, regulatory agencies. So if that's State Water Resource Control Board, which we deal with quite a bit, we've got the funding for well 11 from them. If it's our actual legislators, if we're all planning on going, or some of us are planning on going to the league, conference in April, that would also be another opportunity. So, just we'll be working on that schedule as far as what that looks like, or if we even want to do a separate, trip, just to do some lobbying, do like a 1 day type of trip, which, isn't uncommon for, cities and counties to do something along those lines. So, more to come. I know it's been mentioned already, the tree lighting, but, I thought it was fantastic. It was great. I haven't been to it, and I, just want to reiterate, I know it was mentioned that all council members were there. But also we had all the department heads there too. And it wasn't mandatory. I didn't ask anyone to show up, that they had to show up. They all did it on their own accord. And it was really great to see all the department heads, all the council together. We had a couple of nice photos. And I think the park staff, the public works, city services department, public safety, were all out in mass, cleaning things up, getting things prepared beforehand, afterwards, making sure people were safe, participating in the parade. So the city was in full force, Friday night. And so it was really good to see. And we've already mentioned that, we've got Santa night, this Friday. And I did confirm that there will be a certain large animal that, maybe two, it's probably gonna be right outside this wall somewhere, close by. I don't know if we want it right exactly, but, just saying, if you don't have anything going on late Friday afternoon, you may want to come by and see a certain, mascot of a cigarette company.
You should dress as one of the Vikings.
Well, that was suggested. I need to look and see what my wardrobe is. East Corea GSA had a meeting, approved a budget for them, or that they approved a budget, at that meeting. TCAG and TCRTA, was also mentioned. With TCAG, one important note, it was awarded the TCAG board, and thank the mayor for, her support. We were awarded another $2 million additional for ATP funding. So that was on top of the 1 million that they're already. So, the additional funding for sidewalks, for improvements, and, possible bike lanes, other things that we can use, is really gonna, help us move the needle quite a bit as far as making some good improvements in this upcoming year or two. So, that was really, really good meeting. Bryant has another board meeting this Friday, and then last Saturday was a hospital guilds, breakfast that I attended. So it was a great turnout. It was sold out, packed crowd, and this was, I think, the first year that they had 6 scholarship recipients. So there's quite a few folks that got awarded. So, all good. I don't see Brian Thoburn from Edison, was supposed to wasn't able to make it, but he did, encourage, I know I think he reached out to each council member individually and or collectively, but Edison does have a $50,000 scholarship. He's really encouraging Lindsay, youth to apply. And, we will make sure and lobby and try and tell people, you know, the great things about Lindsay. And I think I'm hopeful that, a Lindsay youth will be awarded this upcoming year. That's, I mean, 50 grand is a lot of money. It can help a lot, for any young person that wants to continue their education after high school. So, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent calendar. Routine items approved in one motion unless an item is pulled for discussion. There will be no separate discussion of these matters unless a request is made. In which event, the item will be removed from the consent calendar and be discussed and voted upon a separate motion. Do I have a motion to approve the calendar?
Motion to approve.
A motion from Flores, a second from Soria. All in favor? Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
We've already done the proclamation. So moving on to presentations, 13.1, alternative work schedule, and this is presented by Heather Brock.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll keep this brief. This is an informational item. One of the things we've been looking at with staff is just looking at efficiencies, what we can do. Are there better ways that we can do things? And one of the things we've heard from is that there's an interest and desire to have a little more flexibility. And so what we've been talking about is doing an alternate work schedule. So not necessarily, want to advance the slide. Not necessarily, so we'd still be looking at an 80-hour a work week. We pay every other week is the city's practice currently, but looking at what would something look at, or what would it look like to do something a little bit different to provide a little bit of flexibility for our employees. So we looked at multiple options. We looked at 4-10s. We looked at 8-9s and an 8. We looked at 8-9s and a half day. And so talking to department heads talked with their staff. We kind of came up with this model that would help achieve what we're looking at doing. Next slide. So one of the things to go briefly is this, you know, again, because we'd be at 9-hour days for those days, looking at opening a little bit earlier. So helping with the public who may have to work during the normal business hours. It's difficult for them to, if they need to go to the permit center and city services, or if they're looking to pay their water or sewer bill, it gives them a little bit more of a window to come outside of if they have to work an 8 to 5. Next slide. So we'd also look at, you know, one of the things that we do is, because it would be an alternating day, as far as not necessarily having everyone off on the same, if we just take Friday, for example, if Friday is the day, which is what we're kind of looking at, that the day off would be, maybe half of a particular department would be off for the one Friday, the following Friday would be the other half. So there'd still be some coverage of the actual office, but it wouldn't necessarily be at full staff, right? And so we'd have to, you know, department heads have looked at how we make sure and we shift those other duties that normally would happen on those Fridays, and make sure that, again, with that extra hour and the other 4 days of the week, how we're getting around to those other tasks, and really kind of, because that's the goal. The goal is that we're not going to lose any productivity, but really that we should gain productivity. If we're working with our employees, giving them a little bit of flexibility, now they're more energized. And so when the hours they are here, they're going to really maximize those hours, right? And not having they can schedule, let's go to the next slide. doesn't have to necessarily schedule, appointments or errands that normally they may have to take a few hours off during the middle of the week. They can schedule those for those days, that they're actually off and really kind of focus on that. Another thing we also, are emphasizing is that this is a privilege. We're trying this out, we're testing this out, but if we see that, productivity isn't maintained at a high level, then we'll reevaluate it and go back to that. So that's something that we want to try. We want to make some adjustments, but also recognize that, if it doesn't work out, then we'll go back to status quo as is. No fiscal impact. Again, it's, the same amount of work. It's just in a slightly different format. Next slide. That's it. Perfect. So, we just wanted to provide that since it is a fairly major change. Just wanted to provide an opportunity for council or the public to provide any input, for staff. If there's no, major objections, then, staff will work, after this to start implementing it.
Do we have any questions?
I have a few. You said early, like to open the office early and what time would you be looking at?
Oh, I don't remember off the top of my head. I think we were talking about 7 or 7:30. There was some talk about maybe, staff only taking a half-hour lunch. So if that were the case, then it would be a 7:30 start versus 8 a.m. But if we still maintain the full hour lunch, it would be 7 a.m. So we did check and see what the preference was. Would you rather, do a half hour early and a half hour later, an hour earlier, an hour later? And the consensus, is that, staff prefers to come in earlier. So, I don't have any objection to that unless.
And the office closes at 4:30, correct?
To the public, it
To the
does,
public.
yes, but at 4 o'clock for finance, right? And so that gives us that last hour before, employees actually go home to, cash out, check the drawers on the cash drawers, do the deposits, clean up all that type of stuff.
So is
So,
there any extending that? Because I know it used to be 5 o'clock.
I mean, that could be a possibility, but again, if we did do that, then we probably need to shift it and probably wouldn't work as early, so it'd still be open at 8. And then because we still need a gap, to be able to close out the drawers, and the cash out. So if we were open to the public at 5, we'd still need a period of time to actually wrap it up before employees just went home.
So you'll be open in the morning at 7:30?
Yes,
Okay, so people can pay their bills before they get to work.
right.
We're picking up at 4:30 and we want to figure it out then.
Did they just pay it online?
We can also pay online. That's always a good choice.
There's another
There's
question I
options.
forgot. Oh, so you're talking about trying it out. So the trial is 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. What's the trial?
We haven't set a timeline. I think it'd be as needed. And I'd also just, make note that this doesn't apply to all employees. So for example, public safety, they have their own, they have, with the exception of records. So records, they would be allowed to do that, but for the rest, for patrols, for fire, they have their own schedule, and so that would stay status quo. That would not change. But for the rest of the employees, it would impact. So if we wanna, we can come back and share with you in 3 months, 6 months, and we can report back out and and whether it's in my city manager report or a separate presentation, if that's what the council would like, we can share whether or not we found anything. I'd be happy to do
And I
that.
would suggest 3 months.
3 months?
Just to see how it's going. I don't know if it'll take longer than that, but I think 3 months is pretty good.
Okay.
And my last question is, if it continues, let's say it's going good, all is well, how long are they gonna have that schedule? Is it gonna be on a rotation? Because let's say somebody else wants to come in early, or somebody wants to do a 4:10 and wants to leave on a Friday or on a Monday. When can they change their schedule? Is it gonna be every 6 months, every year?
So they wouldn't have the option necessarily to change. So So we, as a city, are making the direction to say, this is the schedule that we've come up with. So they have to fit along with that. If they wanted to change and alternate, one Friday over another as far as what they had off, I think they'd have to work with their department head, with their supervisor. When ultimately we'd have to just make sure that one, it's in that same pay period, right? So you're not taking, because it's in a 2 weeks time frame, so you're not doing like, back to back when you just already had one off. And then just making sure that we also have some coverage too, so.
So I would suggest that, for example, I would want probably a Friday off, and I'm gonna give myself as an example, I would want a Friday off, but maybe I get tired of it, and now I want a different schedule, I want an 8 to 5 now. So I think it would be ideal, so people won't get burnt out on that same schedule, or maybe they have a different schedule during the summer, or maybe, the kids do something, they have sports, so they rather come in early, or leave early, whatever, or come in early or leave early, I guess, because they're not gonna be late. So I would just suggest allowing or letting staff so many months go by, I'm gonna say 6 months, just so they can change their schedule. And I mean, and it doesn't have to change, maybe everybody likes that schedule and they stay with that schedule. But maybe somebody else might want the 4-10, the second, the last year or the last 6 months of the year.
Yeah, we
I think
can,
just to make it fair, because once they have a set schedule, what if 2 people want that same schedule? Are you gonna draw, or how is that are you gonna interview them? What's the
ask you
process?
what favorite it is, and then we'll go from there. We haven't talked about those, but I think those are excellent, points that we can evaluate, and especially over this first 3-month period in between now and when we come back to council to give a report, we'll have that evaluated and look at whether or not there's options to change things out, how the process is, if people want to do that. The emphasis was just setting something that was uniform and that everyone would be on that initially. Recognizing that, for example, I mean, this year's a perfect example. Some may have the Friday off right after Christmas, right? And so that may be beneficial, but because of how this works, the next group will have the Friday off right after New Year's Day. So everybody, but that would be a good example where there could be some animosity where it's like, I want the 26th off versus the second.
But that would be for the same people over and over again. So that's why I'm saying to rotate. And is it only gonna be?
Well,
okay,
the
somebody wants
days
4-10,
moved, so it wouldn't necessarily be the same thing, depending on the
if
calendar.
that person wants the 4-10, are you?
We're not offering that right now.
No, I understand that, but you will be, correct, or?
I don't think that we will, I don't anticipate that we're doing that at this point in time. I mean, I think we're always open to evaluate that, but, as of right now, I don't.
Or half a day? You're talking about half a day then?
Well, we evaluated all 3 of those different options, and I think we settled on this as far as what would be most workable, what would also be the least impactful to the public. And so we can go different directions if council thinks that there should be some options, and we can evaluate those in the next 3 months, 6 months or so, if we think that that's worthwhile.
I was just throwing those questions out there because
A little ahead.
those are the questions that I would be asking.
Mhm.
So, I mean, if it's a half day, then are you gonna say a Friday half day, or Monday half day, or Wednesday half day? Is it gonna be, are you gonna alternate, like, how is that gonna work?
Mhm.
But I was just asking, I mean, whatever you come up with, I'm sure staff will have plenty of questions.
Does this apply to department heads?
Yes, it would be, apply, to department heads. Again, it would apply to anybody with the exception of those that have a specific unique, schedule already. So public safety, I think it's, primarily fire and police. Outside of that, even, we talked about with public works with the crews, they already have a different schedule where they start earlier, but it would still be applicable to them. Their schedule would be tweaked though, because it wouldn't be the exact same as, finance or records or, city services in the office that, come in, but, but it'd still be applicable to them as well, so.
Yeah,
Same thing
so
with
that day,
wellness.
the day that they will be off, so that day will be the same day or we'll be able to rotate, like, let's say this month I'm in different, on what day off.
That'd be, it would be this, as of right now, it's gonna be the same, so it'd be every other week. It would be that same,
Right,
yeah,
okay,
but it's not necessarily the same, right? 52 weeks, some, with 20, there's 12 months out of a year, but 26 pay periods. So, some months have, 3 pay periods, there's a couple months that'll have 3 pay periods. Well, in that same way, there's gonna be 2 months that you're going to get 3, Fridays off. But your 3 Fridays off are gonna be different than your coworkers because you're gonna have it this month, but then because they're on the other schedule, they're gonna have 2 other, months that they're gonna get the 3 in a 1 month. But it's all be equal as far as everyone will get the same amount, it just won't happen all at the same time.
I appreciate the consideration, I really do wanna emphasize the productivity aspect of it, especially in the winter with the sun going down so early and, yeah, so starting early is better, that's great, as long as, we find a good balance and make sure that everybody is fulfilling their duties and not falling behind, I'm all for it.
Thank you. Public comment?
Yeah.
At this time, I'm taking public comment for 13.1. You can. I don't.
Good evening, council. My name is Christopher Wolf. I am a resident in the city of Lindsay. I just want to emphasize to any apprehensions council may have on this, what is essentially a perk. This isn't something new. This is, a very established principle among a bulk of municipalities. Specifically, my experience is more set to Southern California, but these agencies, 10 times the size of Lindsay, are able to operate efficiently with 410 schedules versus 980s. And there is almost zero consequence or impact to the public facing aspect of adjusting to the schedule. And I would think some employees wouldn't mind having a consistent every other day Friday without having somebody to say out on the side. Kind of relying on there. But I just again wanted to emphasize to council that this isn't an egregiously new thing that we're inventing. The city of Lindsay is inventing is in addition to that, a perk to employees who have limited perks. And it gives us that competitive edge to other municipalities that might have, extensive resources. This gives us a leg up from there. But that was my opinions and thoughts on the subject. Again,
Yes.
I'm not a rock.
Thank you. Thank you.
Or you can do it from there, go ahead.
Or to team up, so I didn't make a comment, I didn't make a comment, so other employee from different city, did make a comment, they seen it on our agenda, and they did say, man, we wish we had that. So, wanted that there.
Thank you. Lindsay, you doing a big thing. And do I have any more public comment at this time? Public comment is closed. Moving on to 13.
If, just to make one, comment, so I know that this council is very familiar with alternate work schedules. I think some actually, utilize alternate work schedules, so they have kind of been encouraging us to look at some options, so just for staff to know that council's been proactive, even if you may not have heard it from the dais. So I think they're well aware, the county has implemented it in many of their, departments for well over a decade. So it's not unusual. I know there's other nearby cities that also have it, so we've been looking at and evaluating what other, things are. So that's all part of the making things better.
You're welcome.
I wish I could teach for 4 days. For 4 days.
Well, as a
I
mother,
wanna-
we teach 7 days a week.
You're right.
That's,
You're right. Moving on to 13.2, the creation of the 501c nonprofit organization. This is all for the
Okay, we'll go over this fairly quick. So one of the things we've looked at, is creating a community foundation for the city. We have, thank you. We've got some options. We'll go through it real quick. So what a foundation would be, it'd be a 501(c)(3). It's a IRS tax exempt designation, primarily focusing on collecting donations on our behalf. So this council has heard and knows that we regularly take donations at the Christmas tree lighting. We have some banners of sponsors that help with the Christmas parade and the tree lighting. So being able to collect those and instead of putting those in the general fund, we would place them in this special account that was separately controlled. All the tax filings are public information, so it's not like anything would be hidden. It's all available. In fact, it may be even easier to find and easier to read than our typical budget. The 990s are for our 501(c)(3)s. Also, our potato sales, when we receive funds from any of those type of proceeds, even though it's not technically our event, but Virginia's kind enough to contribute towards various causes in the city, and we can more easily earmark them for whatever the donors want to specifically have. And then the benefit for the donors are they can easily get a tax write-off. So it's not as complicated. Sometimes there's a little bit of confusion as far as if they're giving directly to a government entity, they should be able to get a tax write-off as well. But this makes it very clear as far as providing to a C3. So again, I think it just makes things a little cleaner. It's a transparent thing. There's other cities that do have this. Would be active, and then really focusing on the needs of the city that are good ideas, but maybe it doesn't quite make sense to use taxpayer dollars to do that. So, for example, I know there was some hesitancy, and we had a nice robust discussion about the Christmas lights. You know, so I think it was clear that we all love the Christmas lights. They look great outside, but should we be using taxpayer dollars, or should we be soliciting donations and using those type of things? I think that would be one example of a good cause to do that. There may be some other additional things that we just don't have the budget for, you know, maybe related to youth, or it might be for the Santa giveaway for toys or something, you know, that are just little extras that that we still think are worthwhile, but there may be other more necessary funds that we need to use just for general operation, where these can help supplement what the city's doing on other types of things. So so we would, we'd monitor it, we'd work through it. We work with our existing vendors, with local businesses, community leaders, as far as to seek support for it. Governance structure, we'd have to file a separate taxes through the IRS through a 990. We need to have budget and financials, all that type of stuff, conflict of interest. We'd have an independent board technically for that. So typically that'd be 5 to 9 members. And that would be, so it'd be independent of the city, but very much work hand in hand with the city operations. So officially be independent, but there'd be a shared vision and interest. And then, so what it would look like is that we create it, so it'd be a little bit of staff time, but realistically, it'd probably not be a whole lot. We've already, Griswold LaSalle, Megan and her team have done this with a few other cities. They've done this for individuals, and they have their own foundation that they've formed and is very active in doing things. So they're very well aware of the paperwork, and we're getting it up and running, so it wouldn't take much. And again, very low impact from a financial standpoint, a little bit of staff time, but fairly minimal. I mean, it's gonna be less than 10 hours staff. It's not gonna be much as far as on an annual basis, as far as what we're doing. That's that. So again, this was just something that I thought we'd wanna bring to the attention of council, get any feedback. As far as, any direction that you'd like, but I think the main goal and the purpose would be transparency and really making sure that when we receive donations, that it goes to the intended cause. And it gives us a cleaner vehicle to go out and solicit more donations.
Thank you. Do we have any questions, concerns? No? No? Do you have any, take public comment? No? All right, thank you. Okay. Moving on to department heads report. 14.1 city service. Welcome, Dario. Is this your first report?
Thanks for pointing that out.
Dario? Let me know this, Dario.
Thank you, Mayor, Fulton and Council. Tonight I'll give a brief presentation, a quick background on the department, and then some of the projects that are ongoing. The city services department is responsible for managing and maintaining essential infrastructure and services that enhance the quality of life in the community of Lindsay. Key responsibilities, the department plays a crucial role in the construction and maintenance of infrastructure, including roads and transportation. These are vital for ensuring efficient transportation and connectivity in the community. We are involved in the maintenance of essential utilities such as water supply, sewage systems, and lighting. Ensuring that these services are reliable and accessible to the residents, which is fundamental for public health and safety. The department contributes to urban planning by overseeing zoning laws and land development. We also manage community services such as waste collection, recycling programs, and maintenance of public spaces and facilities. The department is responsible for planning, design, and execution of public projects. We collaborate with various stakeholders, including government officials, contractors, and the community to ensure that these projects meet the needs of the public. So what we do is pretty essential to the functioning and development of the community. With that, I'll move on to the quick presentation.
No, somebody else.
Okay,
Here's a quick breakdown of what I have for you guys today. We have a small reorganization update, some street, water, sewer projects, a little information on the housing, and then we'll finish it up with planning. Ooh, okay. Oh, it's better over here. Sorry about this, quite a bit of staff here. But the revised organization it's not a big change. The only change is that, the Parks Division has moved on to Parks and Recs. It is led by myself, and we have Joseph Avina, who is the city services manager and inspector. Then the division is divided into two sections, which is maintenance and operations, and then engineering and administration. The operations and maintenance is mainly led by Marshall Chides, which is maintenance of streets, and then water and wastewater. Under wastewater, under utilities, we have it's contracted out to Mr. Ralph Gutierrez, who has been here for a minute. I do have, which by the way, his institutional knowledge is amazing. And we do have a vacancy under wastewater, working, hopefully trying to get that filled as soon as possible. On the other side with engineering, we have our youngster Mauricio, our engineer technician, who's doing a phenomenal job as well. And the administrative side of things, we have Becky. Street paving projects, we have a handful of projects coming our way. Fresno Street, Westwood, Kern, Central, and Van Ness. That's the layout.
Where's Kern?
Right,
I'm sorry.
the middle one.
I don't remember Kern being part of what we had approved. Do you guys remember?
I know that it was, in there.
Between the Kern runs between any of those streets.
Yeah, I know, but
So I think it was.
We can check in that.
yeah.
No, we can check on it. Because it also highlights, it also highlights on the next, on the slide, some that were in the further phases like Ashland and Samoa Street. So
Yeah,
Um,
as long as you
Right.
confirm that we
Yeah.
approved it.
right.
So,
But we
yeah,
definitely have Van Ness, Central and
Mhm.
Westwood, and I think a portion of, Mariposa as well, yeah.
right. So, currently, the, design is about 85%. I would say more towards 90% completed. I anticipate that in the next month or so, it'll be a full, design project and ready to go out for bid. The climate, the temperature is not really helping out, so we need the right temperature to pave those streets, but I'm anticipating that maybe pave a street or two during spring break. And the rest, when school's out, I think it's right next to, school, so
Jefferson.
it's gonna create a nightmare
Mhm.
with the traffic there, so. We'll coordinate with the school district as well, make sure that the project moves smoothly, but for now, still under design.
You did really good at Kennedy. I only had to yell at some people. They were going on fresh. Yeah, it's a struggle when the schools, oh, it's good,
Well, sure, recording.
yeah.
With the water system project, we have a pretty large water main improvement project that is currently under review, environmental review. This is a pretty important project that will improve the capacity of our mains and hopefully get the desired fire flow. And it's all over the city. So that's ongoing. Well 11, it's in the last couple of weeks, we've been doing some pump testing to analyze the well. It's been off for some time, so we want to make sure that, we could bring it back online, that it meets the minimum requirements. It's pumping a lot. It's really good. Last time we tried it was at 14 ounces per minute, and it was like a champion. So, we'll go through the necessary process to make sure that we get it back online. Next is probably, put together a bidding package that will go out. We do have a grant to the water board, so. That's what we're shooting for. Okay, and then well 14, the VFDs, the variable frequency drives, that's also in the pipeline. We're hoping that, we install these are, essentially will help, with more, energy efficient. So that's also in the pipeline. On the right of the slide, we have, this Cal OES FEMA grant, the generators project that involves replacing and installing new generators in all these different sites, well 14, 15, the wastewater treatment plant, CD Hall, the public safety building, and the lift stations. The RFQ was released about a week or so ago, and we're hoping that we can award the project in the first week of the first meeting in January. The sewer system, we recently purchased a water screen, and it's out in the yard. It was on its last legs, so we needed to replace it. I think we did some repairs like 10 years ago, but it's never been completely changed. So it's due, and it's very crucial that it's in operation. Transit center, we are at approximately 30% completed. Yeah, so that's all, and it's gonna take a minute. I didn't put the travel center out there, but as you know, it's under construction, so that's up and running. Some of the housing developments, five of the six are actually, they're working on entitlements still. And the only one that's in construction is the O'Hara one. So, that's moving slowly, but it's moving. Planning update. Housing element, that's actually before you tonight, so hopefully everything goes smoothly. With your approval, I will send it back to HC and hopefully get it out of the way. It's gonna be good for another 7 to 8 years, I believe, before we, move to another update. Also another couple plans, urban water management plan, ADA transition plan, and it's not up here, but we need to work on a pavement management system study. Make sure that we identify, all of our street infrastructure, the needs, and we'll go from there. Just to finish it off, I think our team, it is actually a pretty time to regroup at the end of the year. I believe we're doing a good job, and especially in operations. I know Marshall's here, but just to remember, we've had close to 400 services requests, close to 100 water leak repairs, approximately 200 sewer inspections, and over 100 new water meter installations. So that's fantastic. And this one, we have about 8,000 square feet of pothole patching. That's a lot. These guys are doing a tremendous job. I forgot to put it up here, but the olive ball is moving, recently we had a contractor demo the north side of it, and they're gonna be installing the new, playground equipment. That's their promise. I have we released the RFQ for on-call engineering services, I think it was November 28th. We're hoping to award, bring it back for your consideration the first week of January. And I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. I can't remember, why is the transit center taking so long? I sat on the board, and they couldn't even answer that at TCAG, they're like, it's Lindsay.
But I think part of
Like I said,
it
it's
was,
not money.
well, so I think, initially, the initial issue was staff sat on it for a little bit longer than we probably should have. So we came, with a RFP for design, for architectural design of it, and council awarded it, I think it was in April
Mhm.
of this year. So that theoretically could have happened months and months prior to that, and so I think just getting it started, because we were awarded about the same time that Farmersville was awarded as well, so why that initial delay, I'm not completely sure of, but I think that was the main thing, but since it's been awarded, we've, engaged with the design team, multiple times, talked with them about, scope, the size, we've gone back and forth, what was needed, what the funding was, what that realistically could be about, so we wanted to fine tune it a little bit, and so we've done that, and so that's where we're at as far as the design work, but I'm not sure the exact timing, but I would imagine sometime in next spring, we'll, if not, whether it's early spring or late spring, we'll be having a more finished product as far as the actual design work, and then we can move quickly into, seeing what getting council's input and possibly going out to bid for construction. We do own the site, so there's nothing precluding us. We have the money secured. TCAG's been a great partner. They've even shared that, if there's, some other things that are still related to the transit center, but, maybe some little add-ons or things that make sense from a community standpoint, that, to make sure and include that as part of the design. So that was one of the reasons why we've kind of fine-tuned things a little bit, making sure that we not only got a great transit center, but we got something that met the needs of Lindsay.
All right, thank you. We have any other questions?
Oh, you know what? Do you have anything to do with the railroad tracks that are really indented over here off of, is it Hermosa?
Yeah.
I really don't drive that way, but one time I came in and, dang, it's a dip. I thought it was gonna bend my rim.
Yeah, so, we can certainly, coordinate with the.
San Joaquin Valley Railroad.
Yeah. and
Yeah,
see if we
it's
can
just on the south
do
side.
some maintenance or, yes,
Yeah.
I'll look into it.
All right, thank you.
Joe?
Yes, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate the fact that you assimilated very well with our staff and with our city. And, I just wanted to let you know that you have our full support to really, apply pressure, not on the staff, but on any outside vendors that we
Agreed.
work with. Unfortunately, we have a lot of vendors, people that we contract with that really drag their feet and give us really lame excuses for why projects aren't done. I understand that, delays happen, but unfortunately, my first year here, and I'm sure what you've experienced it, is we get a lot of delays, and they always have a good excuse, right? And to me, it's like, that's great, all right, I just really want you to apply pressure, pay attention, because if that happens with certain vendors, I want to make sure that we consider that, and that if we have, an opportunity to go elsewhere.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Joe, I agree. Yeah,
Ditto, for sure.
because we do get a lot of phone calls or emails, so we want to make sure, we're moving.
I mean, they'll be okay.
Yeah.
They'll be fine. They'll understand.
And I think, part of the issue is, just not having a director overseeing,
Yeah.
those things, so. But we're here,
Yes.
very much so.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to public hearing. 15.1, the adoption of the second reading of the building code, and we're going to provide ordinance 615, action recommended. And is it budget?
to just clarify, we do push our vendors, our subs, on it, just stuff that you guys don't see behind, but we'll try to do our best. So, I'm here to present the second reading of ordinance for the ordinance 615 for the adoption of the 2025 code standards. The public notice was published in the Sun Gazette, November 26th. Staff recommends the adoption of the ordinance. If approved, it would take place and take effect the 1st of January. All submittals before the first will fall under the 2022 building code. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Do you have any questions? I'm gonna open it up to the public hearing. What is it? Do you have any concerns, questions? Council? No? All right.
The third time you.
Yeah.
I've been saying everything.
Yeah, you guys are on a roll. Do I have a motion?
Absolutely, about the. Approve the second.
One second.
First with Claudia, and second by, Flores, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Moving on to, 15.2, the adoption of the 2023 and through 2031 housing element. And this is by Susan Long. Welcome, Susan.
Okay. So, as you know, you've been in the process of working on a housing element since 2022. And it's an 8-year cycle that you're adopting a element for those 8 years. So I'm here tonight to kind of tell you, run you through a little bit of what occurred over this last few years and where we've landed. We have gone back for revisions with HCD a couple different times. In those revisions, we have finally gotten, yes, you meet all the requirements. Now you just need to get it further and meet the ordinance requirements. So that's where we're at tonight. So once we've been able to accomplish that, we'll be able to get that certification from HCD, which is what we want. Who has the clicker? Oh, there it is. It's tiny. Sorry. Yeah. So the housing element is one of 8 mandatory elements of your general plan. It is updated every 8 years. And one of the largest parts of the housing element is the regional housing needs allocation. What state determines how much housing is going to be needed within the state, and then they break it down by communities and so forth. So that's what we're looking at. Under the 31 RENA numbers, Lindsay was set for 789 units that need to be developed within, that's what they're saying, during that time frame, right? So we have to show how we're going to do that, and we have to show the breakdown of income levels in which we have the property or land, I should say, to accommodate that. And we'll get more into this. So I'm going to kind of move along. If I am going too fast at any point, just stop me. But this is a lot of information, and I know that you guys are probably getting tired. So the city participated in a multi-jurisdictional housing element update. So they worked with Tulare County Association of Governments, and they hired one consultant that came in and did work for Dinuba, Exeter, Farmersville, Lindsay, Porterville, Tulare. Like, the good thing about that is it gave you a more opportunity to look at a regional analysis. You're not just in a silo. So it really provided more opportunity to say, okay, this might work here, but it might not work here, and here's why. So the housing element components included, there's a huge public participation piece, which we're handling this evening. And then the identification of the housing needs, looking at your population trends, your housing stock, and any special needs. as well as constraints. So whether or not you have governmental or non-governmental constraints, environmental constraints that prevent housing from being developed. And then your resource inventory. So how much land you have available that is zoned properly that will allow you to build the housing that is needed or anticipated, I should say. And then also, how are your ordinances, your rules and things set up to ensure that things are done fairly? So their fair housing assessment, looking at what resources are out there should that encounter. And then lastly, your housing element, and this is the big part, is where you are defining your plan. So what are we going to do over the next 8 years? What's our goals? What's our policies? And what are the programs we say we're going to implement in order to ensure that, you know, I keep saying we, but I mean the city. Right?
That's okay, that we're gonna be part of it.
Okay. That we're going to implement. I've been in housing for too many years, and it's just like we just comes out. So the programs you're going to implement to ensure that you're reaching for and obtaining these goals. Okay. So as I mentioned, the timeline, it started out in winter of 22. Bulk of the work as far as draft element and community engagement happened in 23. The first review, public review, was presented in the summer of 24, and that was when the first review draft went to HCD. It went through a couple of different revisions and had to complete the environmental review. And then here we are finally December of 25, and we're ready to finally adopt. So just a little bit on public participation, kind of the things that were done to ensure that the public have awareness and had an opportunity to comment on the process. There were project website links on the housing element that every draft that was put out, it was posted to a website. There were people that had interest, various groups and things that had interest. They got emails telling them that the new draft was posted, so they had access. There were community workshops held and stakeholder interviews, as well as some online surveys that took place over that. And in all of that, there were no comment letters that were received.
We're here, Mayor.
I didn't even know what was going on. So they're gonna say to us.
Yeah, always. The housing needs, so we talked about that your sixth cycle designated 789 units. Those are broken out by various income groups. So based on population projections and things of that nature, it was broken out saying that, okay, you need about 51 units that will accommodate extra low income households. And then, you know, 42 for very low, so on and so on. Then in addition to that, we look at what is already in the pipeline for the city as far as being constructed, which you just saw Dario kind of went over that list. Well, there's about 322 homes proposed in those projects. So we get to count those and say, okay, we have these in the pipeline already. And then we have to identify additional sites that haven't already been designated and determine not only their zoning, but how many realistic units can be placed on those sites. And in the midst of all that, which I will get more into, you also have to look at what the equality of it all, right? So where you're putting them, are they adjacent to resources versus non-resource areas, and so on, which we'll get into. So some of the things that are evaluated are obviously population, growth projections. We look at household income, owners versus renters, average household size, and then also employment. All of these things kind of help identify a little bit as far as what kind of housing is actually needed versus from size to cost, rentals versus homeowners, units. So some of the constraints that I mentioned, there's governmental constraints, which often are related to zoning or permitting process. The marketing constraints, which we don't always have control over, And then also environmental constraints, and I'll touch on a little bit more of those. But the development constraints specific to Lindsay is water capacity and quality, which is not uncommon for here in the valley. The one constraint is the streamlining of a permit process, and then the zoning code, which we're taking care of tonight by amending the zoning code so that it will provide that by right approval, which is required by state law. So here's a little bit more on your inventory. As I mentioned, that top table there shows that you have 322 units in the pipeline. Those units are all considered to be for more moderate income households. So that leaves us with additional properties that need to be accommodated for low income, moderate, and then above moderate. And that's the second table there. And we had opportunity sites that could accommodate 171 low, 234 in moderate, and 349 in above moderate. So that was 754. So we actually have surplus of available, or anticipated available units, I should say, of about 287, which is a great thing. We don't have to try to jump through any hoops to figure out what we're gonna have to rezone, or we have to do any annexations or any. So that's a great place for the city to be. So how do we determine what sites we should be looking at? So we look at infill sites. We want to avoid sprawl as much as possible. They need to meet HCD requirements. The sites are typically between 0.5 to 10 acres in size. And they are either vacant or underutilized lots. So this is, this is not. Can't see that myself, so I know you can't see it. So that talks about the O'Hare Ranch, Hidden Oak, and Mission Estates, and then the President Apartment. So that's the pipeline that Dario just talked about. And then this is the inventory site. So it shows all of the yellow squares, the purple, and then the burgundy brown color. Are sites that are part of your inventory. Each of the colors indicate a different zone. So yellow is single family housing, purple is a mixed use, and the brown burgundy color is for multifamily type projects. So as you can see, they're kind of spaced around. And I should have mentioned that a majority of those projects that are in your pipeline are in that West Lindsay area. So that's why you'll see that there's a lot of inventory on the east side to make some balance. So affirmatively furthering fair housing, I always jump that up. I can't believe I got it out. That's a portion that we have to comply with, and it has to analyze the patterns of segregation and integration, identify disparities and accesses to opportunity, analyze factors on segregation and equitable thing and concentration of poverty, things of that nature. So what we're really, if you want to break it down, what are the costs of the housing in that area, and how close are they to resources and amenities and things, education, and is the value of those amenities, education, things of that nature equal to what other areas have, or trying to create that. That's what this is really all about. And it has to be looked at because obviously we don't want to create that segregation, right? We want to avoid segregation. And that extends into the housing inventory, site inventory. So the new element requirements, part of the requirements of putting this together were outreach, the affirmative furthering fair housing analysis, site inventory analysis, identification and prioritization of contributing factors, and then any actions that need to take place to ensure that affirmative, further, and fair housing. So some regional findings related to fair housing is difference in population, demographics between urban and rural areas, residents with disabilities, racial concentrations, and poverty rates, as well as environmental issues. So the findings in this area is that rural areas have more residents with disabilities. And they're also, but they also have a wider population. Racial concentration areas in Tulare County seem to be influenced around Tulare, Visalia, and West Woodlake. And then poverty rates are higher in rural areas than in urban areas, which I think we probably all kind of can assume most of those things. And then poor environmental outcomes. Part of Western Tulare County has some poor environmental issues related to pollution exposure, air quality, and other hazards. So when we look more directly at the city of Lindsay, we see that we have had an increase in the Hispanic population in the 10-year span between 2011 and 2021, about just under 2%. All other races have declined in Lindsay during that same time frame. However, there is low to medium segregation, so that means we're intertwining pretty well. There's 14% of the residents have disabilities with one or more, and which is higher than Tulare County or the Tri-County area, which is about 12%. So you have slightly higher population with disabilities. Senior residents, age 65 and over, make about 60% of that. Household types, majority of your households here in Lindsay are married couples with children. And your household median income is about $39,375 roughly, which is about 31% less than Tulare County, which is at 57,000. And it's significantly less than the state, which is at 87,000.
Yeah.
So these are the opportunity areas, and I know there's no way you can see that because I can see that. But in short, I'll just kind of tell you that the colored areas, sure, I don't mistake myself. The colored areas, so the darker the color, is generally the less, I really can't read that, it's so little, the less positive economic outcomes. So if it's dark, like the brown there, that's on economic opportunities area. And what it's saying is the darker the brown area is, the less positive the economic outcomes are versus the lighter area. So economic outcomes in the lighter are better in the lighter area. The top corner, I guess the left corner is about educational outcomes. And it doesn't really say better or worse, but it talks about that you have a greater than 4% versus 8% geography. Hopefully you have copies of these. Maybe you can read them better in front of you. And then the final one in the top right corner is on the environment. And the same is true. So the more positive environmental outcomes are in the darker green. So that's a good starter. That's more positive. That's a good thing. So finally, the goal.
Just
Sorry.
one takeaway on those
Sure,
maps is
sure.
that Palouse Ranch and the high school are in good shape and everything else needs some work. So it's not a whole lot.
Thank you. So the goal is to develop your housing plan and your program. So the goal is to look at the regional, how you're gonna do that. Are it gonna be through a regional collaboration, developing housing programs? These are your goals that are set out in your plan. What are your affordable housing options? Housing and neighborhood preservation, housing for persons with special needs, which could be disability, it could be a number of things. And resource conservation and sustainability development, as well as the affirmative furthering. Can't believe I've gotten that out that many times. So the regional collaboration, which is part of your program number 1 that's listed in your housing element, is what it is putting is that the city will cooperate in regional efforts to further housing goals. So working with your local communities and other cities that to coordinate with transit and funding and homeless and things of that nature. So not everyone's carrying one burden, but it's being shared and we're trying to accomplish the greater good overall. The housing development, you have a goal program number 2, which that was to identify the sites and ensuring that we have an adequate number of sites for the development of housing and that there would be no net loss. Fortunate, as I mentioned, you have a surplus. So even if something were to happen in one of those sites, maybe were developed into something that wasn't housing, no, there's owned housing, you have some cushion there to be able to have that flexibility. But the goal of that program is to ensure that you continually have that inventory. Program number 3 is part of the ordinance that we'll go over in just a few minutes, which is the by right approval, which is state law that depending on your housing inventory, especially inventory that maybe has been in your inventory list for the past couple of cycles that haven't been developed, they become by right opportunities. So for especially low income housing. And so that's an amendment that's happening to the zoning ordinance. And then removing constraints. So that's the zoning code amendments. That's one of them. And transparency in government is program number 7. Affordable housing options. So there's discussion on accessory dwelling units. And one of the part of the ordinance update does also include language related to accessory dwelling units and junior accessory dwelling units, so that the city's municipal code is in compliance with HCD as well. Facilitating affordable housing development, and then program 11 is lower income and special needs housing. So how are we going to fill those needs? Housing and neighborhood preservation. So program 4 looks at replacement housing. And program 9 is preservation of at-risk housing, which are typically multifamily projects that have been funded by tax credits or something, and they are phasing out of their tax credit period. We want to keep an eye on those properties and be able to say, so we can preserve them as low-income housing versus them going to market. And then program 10 is housing preservation and rehabilitation, which the city has participated in that program a number of times over the years. So then we are looking at the housing for persons with special needs, zoning code amendments as part of program 6, which will help facilitate residential care facilities, emergency shelters, low barrier navigation centers, farm worker housing, and so on. And then program 11 is for lower income and special need housing as well. Resource conservation and sustainability. So we want to encourage incentives for energy conservation and efficiency within residential development. The building code addresses all of that already. And with all the state requirements, it's not really an option any longer. So the fair housing, there are several programs that also address that, and that would be program 14, which was related to fair housing outreach and enforcement. So how are we going to continue to make the public aware of our desire to ensure they have opportunities for fair housing mobility, which is that regional collaboration and accessory dwelling units, as well as the low income and the special need housing. Most of this I've actually kind of already talked about, so. So the final piece, CEQA, so the environmental piece that we have to address, when we make an amendment to any plan, related to the city, is that we have to, review and look at what impacts maybe that this new plan may, cause to the city. There were no significant impacts, so the EIR, was amended, but it was binding on exemptions, so there's no binding, nothing to mitigate or anything. And by adopting resolution 2544 that's in your packet, it will not only amend the general plan to incorporate the new housing element, the ordinance 616, which is the amendment for the by right and ADU housing, as well as approve the general plan EIR. That's it.
Yeah, thank you. That was a lot of information.
It was.
I'm gonna open this up to the public. For the public comment, public concerns. Nope, at this time I'll close it. You guys have any questions? No? All right, do I have a motion? To approve 15.2?
I motion to approve to the adoption and the housing element.
I second. As a motion from Sonia, a second from me, all in favor? Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Moving on to 15.3, the ordinance of the 617, amending the chapter 243, title 2, Lindsay Municipal Code, and this is presented by Brandon. Or the parents.
Either way.
Yeah.
No. This is something that, is necessary. This is a little cleanup. We've, in your packet, it lists, the different, staff that are required to file a conflict of interest form. Also known as, what we do is the 700 form. All council members, have to do that, myself. It specifies, there's 3 different categories. Basically, category 1 is the same type of category that council members have to apply towards, so they have to file with the FPPC. Category 3 is, they have to file, but that just, is maintained here on site with our city clerk. The primary, difference is we've cleaned it up where there are multiple positions that, the city no longer has. IT manager being one, deputy, planning director, or assistant planning director, I forget what the title was. But, you know, we don't have any anticipation of having those positions anytime soon. And so that was just making sure that the designated positions were applicable to what we actually have. Parks and Rec director, you know, before it was just a recreation, so we amended that and changed that to include the new titles for what we have. So that primarily is what's happening. Other than that, it's all the same as far as what the requirements are for employees to fill out the interest, conflict of interest code.
Okay. We'll open this up to the public. We got public comments on 15.3. Nope, I just had it closed. Do I have a motion for 15.3?
I motion to adopt. 50.3, the ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion for Sonia, a second for me, all in favor? Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Then we'll move on to 15.4, the first reading of zoning ordinance 618, and we need to change the zoning designation. This is by Christine Chavez. Welcome.
Hi, good evening, Mayor, Council. Happy to be here, save the best for last. So the item before you is introducing a zoning ordinance amendment. As you guys know, zoning dictates what goes on the land use that each parcel is zoned. So we'll be discussing, be doing a first reading, discussing rezoning properties from light industrial to mixed use. The project location is west of, can you guys hear me on this?
Yeah.
Project location is west of Blue Gum Avenue and west of Sweetbriar. You can see the parcels are outlined in green, so generally between Tulare and Homos Road. Street, sorry. So in the past, in 2022, the city approved ordinance 602, which changed the zoning designation of these properties from mixed use to light industrial. So today we're considering reverting back to the original. The proposal was intended to provide additional opportunities for economic development, specifically for cannabis. And at the same time, ordinance 601 added cannabis distribution, manufacturing, transportation, and production as permitted uses within that zone. So this is a list of the parcels that are in consideration and the size of them, a total of 8.51 acres. You'll see some of them don't have site addresses. That's because they have not had designated addresses filed at the recorder's office because they could be undeveloped at those locations. And then this is the existing zoning map, and the gray is the light industrial. And this is the existing general plan map. And so the state law does require for the two to be consistent. So this would just get us in compliance with the general plan. So bring back to the original zoning. So considerations, we have not received any applications for industrial uses or cannabis within this specific area. Property owners have inquired for residential uses on these properties, but are unable to do so as it's light industrial. Mixed use zone allows for all residential, commercial, and industrial zones, either by right or with the conditional use permit. The general plan and zoning code and corresponding maps are required to be consistent, and so at this time, they're currently inconsistent. And state housing laws are encouraging more housing, as Susan just went over, to have more land available for development, so mixed use would allow that. So proposed actions moving forward, rezone all of the properties that we've mentioned today or tonight back to mixed use, or keep some of the properties zoned as light industrial and initiate a general plan amendment for consistency. So the proposed action today is to move to introduce the first reading of zoning ordinance 617, approving zoning amendment for parcels located north of Hermosa Street, south of West Tulare, west of North Sweetbriar Avenue, and east of the Union Pacific Rail Line, changing the zoning from light industrial to mixed use to achieve consistency with the general plan.
Thank you. Thank you. Open 15.4 up to the public. Any public comment?
Hi, good evening. I am the property owner of one of those properties that I would like to be rezoned. I did intentionally purchase that property for residential and it got flipped on me. It kind of tied our hands to where we couldn't do much. I'm on the corner to where everyone around me is residential and I'm sure nobody there would want, like, I did read the ordinance. And one of the things that was possible to put on there was a sex shop. I'm sure all the neighbors there would love that in their neighborhood. And I even considered doing it just to have this happen. I did ask for this about a year or two ago. I was given the option to do so, but to do so, I had to pay about $6,000 out of my pocket. And it was flipped without us. We had a say, but at the end of the day, they voted against us. So please consider rezoning this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any more public comments?
Madam Mayor, if I may, we did receive some correspondence late this afternoon that has been included in the record as a letter, and I'll turn it over to the city attorney for additional feedback.
Yes, I'll just address the Alex, or kind of the arguments that were made against the proposed zoning amendment. And, I think Christine also for putting together, her own, view of it as well, which I fully agree with. So one of the issues was, which I think Christine addressed, was that, that not all 13 of the APNs that were listed in the proposed zoning amendment were valid. Their office confirmed that they were all valid APNs, like she said, that some of them don't have addresses, and that may be where the confusion is coming from, but they are all valid APNs. And then, there was an assertion that the zoning amendment doesn't include all of the light industrial parcels in the city. That's not a requirement that when you're doing a zoning amendment for a type of use, that you include all of those uses. We don't have to include all light industrial. The only thing that we can't do is we can't, what's called like spot zone, which is not applicable here. We are just changing the zoning to be consistent with the city's general plan. And then also the citizen also stated that the city did not comply with CEQA, and that they believe that an initial study is required. It was determined that this would be exempt from CEQA. Again, we're not providing any development entitlements through the zoning amendment. If someone were to bring a project within this, that's when a potential CEQA analysis would need to be done, but just the act of the zoning amendment in making it consistent with our general plan would not require an initial study, and it is exempt from CEQA. So, and feel free to add on anything, Christine, if you think I missed anything.
No, that's great. And I think this falls under the common sense exception. And I did call the assessor's office and confirmed that all of those addresses did not have anything on file. So they're all valid APNs. They're all making it now.
Thank you. Okay. Now, do you have any more public comment at this time?
Okay, so to better understand this, so you guys mentioned about a cannabis shop or growing in that area, in that general area.
It was, I mentioned, it was just,
Well,
Yeah.
was it for, okay, the change zoning, so therefore you guys have to possibly for cannabis, okay, so I'm not sure. My opinion is do we want cannabis like growing in that general area? Is it, I mean, the city fine with that? Is that what we're striving for, is to grow cannabis or potentially, or possibly open the door for something like that? I mean, I don't think that's a good idea. Yeah, I mean, I know it was just thrown out there, and that's, if I read that correctly, I don't think that would be a good idea. I mean, Sweet Briar, especially that, I mean,
Changing it back would prohibit that.
yes.
right, yeah, I don't think that'd be, we're changing it back, but yeah, I'll definitely consider that. I mean, just food for thought.
Thank you. All right, any more public comment?
Yeah, one more point of
Okay,
clarification.
I'm just gonna close the public comment. Go ahead.
This slide says it's zoning ordinance 617. It's actually
618, yeah, I was
So it's
gonna-
Big action.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry for that.
I caught that. All right, at this time, do we have a motion for 15.4? I move that we rezone it to its original. Go back.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion from Nate, the second by Pro Tem Flores. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, thank you. Moving on to action items. I know. Moving on to 16.1, reorganization of the city council, selection of the mayor pro tem. Miranda? Oh, girl, you, saw you.
Wanted to be. No, we're just about a mayor pro tem for next year.
Yeah, we just have to make a change, I mean, either keep it or make a change. Do we have any suggestions? Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so every year, you guys have decided through the council handbook that you guys will select a new mayor pro tem every year. The mayor term is every 2 years, so the year's up. And so typically how we would do this is, someone would make a nomination and we'd ask for a second of that nomination. And we let all nominations be made that want to be made, and then we'll vote on those nominations in order. If one nomination gets a majority votes, then we don't need to vote on the rest of them. We would go in order that nominations are received if more than one nomination is received.
Okay,
So if anyone has a nomination for mayor pro tem, feel free.
I do have a nomination. I was gonna nominate Joe Soria. You know, no disrespect, I appreciate all of my members, you know what I mean? But I just think it's good. But we're working as a team,
I'll
so.
second that.
I third.
Especially that he's wearing the suit today.
Any other nominations?
Do
Then vote.
we have a motion to approve,
And, you made the motion
I did,
and second it, so there is a motion and second already on the floor,
so all in favor?
I.
Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Soria.
Right, moving on to 16.2.
Wait, don't they change seats?
We can do that at the next meeting unless you want to do that, or we can change the title. We'll make sure and get the right title on, the placard as well.
You don't want to sit next to him?
He keeps me in order, so actually.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, you stay here. Moving on to 16.2, the council appointments of the board, agency and committees. God, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, sure. So, what's in your packet is essentially what's already currently, there's, not that many, that we have that are formal, commitments. So just going down the line for what's on there currently on the East Cahuilla Groundwater Sustainability Agency. Mayor Pro Tem Soria is the representative. There's not an alternate. For the practice for East Cahuilla is the, general manager for the irrigation districts are the alternate. So in this case, if it's the council's pleasure, to keep, you can either nominate, one of your own, or, it'd also be, applicable to, make me the alternate. TCAG, the Tulare County Association of Governments, the current representative is the mayor, Mayor Villarreal. The alternate is Councilmember Nave. That primarily deals with transportation related issues and other, and quite a few other hats that they wear as well. Tulare County Regional Transit Authority, TCRTA. The mayor also serves as a primary. Councilmember Soria Mayor Pro Tem Soria is the alternate for that. We do have a couple of other committees that are just city and other agency committees, so a little less formal. One being the Lindsay Wellness Center Programming Committee, which coordinates with the Lindsay Hospital District. Councilmember Flores is the primary. Well, actually, I think there's two, so there's no alternates. There's just two members of the council are on there. So Councilmember Flores is on there, as well as Mayor Pro Tem Soria. And then the Lindsay Economic Development Committee also has two members, and those members are Councilmember Sanchez and Councilmember Nave. So it's open. If you want to make any changes, now's the time to make changes. If you want to do status quo, then that's also fine, or some level in between. Keep some the same and other changes elsewhere.
Keep them the same? Yeah, we keep them the same. You want something different?
Oh, I was just gonna add Tyler to the alternate.
Yeah,
So
add your name, Kyle.
I try to make it all of them.
Oh, you might be alternate to a lot of them.
Never meeting. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think I can be.
Yeah, you keep it the way, everybody agree?
Yeah.
All right, do I have a motion to keep it the same?
I move we keep it the same.
That's it.
We have a motion for May, a second from Soria, all in favor? Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Alright, moving on to 16.3, approval, who is this one? Okay, guys, you say go ahead.
Very good. Okay, last action item tonight is the approval of memorandum of understanding between the city and our Service Employees International Union for our employees. We've been bargaining with this employee group for a good portion of this year. We've come to agreement. They have a tentative agreement that they've signed that this council has been negotiating. So again, just being fiscally responsible, we've maintained more or less a status quo as far as a no COLA increase for this upcoming year. This contract does go through just this fiscal year, so it's through the end of June. So we'll be back at the bargaining table soon. There are some minor adjustments that were made with the longevity increase for employees that have over 25 years of experience. We also, there's a cost sharing on the PERS allocation of 1% that the city will be covering after that, and some other miscellaneous things. So that's all in the agreement and packet. Open any questions?
Do we have any questions?
I have some comments. So I would cheer all our employees, and I want to know that if we could, if it was up to us, we would give them, everything that we could, like in the highest way possible. And in the circumstances that we're in, we have to be fiscally responsible. We have to balance our budget. It's something that hasn't really occurred in the city for a while now. And so moving forward, as long as our budget is in a good spot, we really want to do our best to reward our employees, to have perks, making sure that they have time off and cost of living increases and like I mentioned, we'll be back at the table and we're gonna make sure that all parties are considered and, we do our best to provide a great place, not just to live, but a great place to work.
Thank you, Joe. Anybody else? No? Do I have a motion for 16.3?
Or public comment?
I know that. Get name. I'll take public comment for 16.3. No? All right, public comment is closed. Now, do I have a motion for 16.3? I move we approve 16.3.
I'll second.
I have a motion from May, a second from Sanchez, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Moving on to requests for future items, do we have any requests for future items? Any time to speak up? Never hold.
No council meeting, this is the only one for this month, right?
Yeah, that's correct. This is, unless we have a special meeting, which I don't anticipate we will, this will be the last meeting of the year for 2025, and we will, in the consent calendar, we approve the new, agendas or the new, council calendar, so the next meeting will be the second Tuesday in January. I believe that's the 14th. Remember, 13th?
All right, thank you guys, and everybody have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in January. Thank you.
How you guys feeling?
You're tan, where are you going?
Oh, I knew it, it's only, it's the sun right now. Hawaii, Hey, go build your house, Hawaii.
4 through 10, so I'll get that done before I leave. I'm really
Trying to get it all over.
I knew it was gonna be a long one.
Oh.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
A box, I said, I don't know. I said. Those ones.
That's the intermission after 35 minutes.
If you ever used the right one, you could.
That's what she used this.
What I know, but what I learned is like, even up here, if you said, hey, you know what, like, we're gonna, I got make put the meeting on pause.
Oh.
But, when it's long meetings like this, don't do it.
I know, I'm not gonna be that.
I would be like, Adrian, I'll be kicking you underneath, watch your feet.
Like in the month, like.
Did I get his feet?
One meeting.
Yeah. I know. I should have gone with it. This is tea and this is my electrolyte. I know. Hey, at work, they always crack up, it's like, if I don't take my magnesium, I don't sleep good. I think magnesium, me too, I think magnesium, I take a conference and then I wake up in the morning at 12. See, and I say, you're all set, and I gotta, yeah, the conference I take right now. They're cracking up, I was like, yeah, I gotta take my stuff.
There's an initial filing fee, and there's a paperwork, we are realized what we're doing again.
Oh my God. I'm gonna sandwich.
No, but I'll.
Happy holidays, I'll see you later.
I speak to one.